Welcome. This is All Minus One Quick Shots. Folks, what happened yesterday? Well, what happened yesterday? That is January 6th, the confirmation of the votes in the Congress and Senate became a little disturbed as thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, of Trump supporters stormed Washington. And I don't you want to use that word hyperbolically. I mean, they were there. And eventually, some people got a little carried away and started going into the Capitol building. And of course, this has been deemed an act of terrorism and all kinds of other stuff. Why did this happen is the question. Well, it happened for the very sole reason that people have not been appeased. People have not been heard. They have been demonized and lionized by the mainstream media, by the Democrat Party, and the academia for quite a long time. Yet they are half of the country. Half, folks. 74 million people voted for Donald Trump. 74 million. Are all those 74 million people those who stormed the Capitol building yesterday? No, it was a small handful, maybe a few hundred out of hundreds of thousands of people. But what happened? They were met with extreme force from the police, and they didn't care. Now, people are calling this terrorist attacks or saying all kinds of stuff as if they had weapons. They did not have weapons. If they had weapons, things would have been far worse. Do I think that it is a good idea to go to these kind of events? Personally, no, I do not, because I believe that this is the kind of stuff that happens because mob mentality presents itself in such a way as to essentially get people to get carried away with anonymity. And with that anonymity of being in the crowd, people tend to do things. They tend to act out in ways that they might not normally do if there was an individual consequence for them. The biggest consequence that happened yesterday was someone paid with their life. A woman, a veteran of the Air Force, from what I understand, was shot in the neck by the Capitol Police. DC is highly fortified, folks. There are police almost everywhere within the Capitol, the several square blocks that make up the actual Capitol. You go over to the Anacostia River, you're not going to find that. You're going to find ghetto land and where they have a very, very high murder rate. But most of DC is quite safe because of the high presence of police and security and federal buildings. Now, should these people have gone in there? Like I said, no, but they did. And there is a reason, and we have to analyze and understand the reasoning. And it is because Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, name your big tech social media site, Google, has been gaslighting people and banning them forever. And this is what happens when you don't get conversations, you get violence. Now, on the other hand, there have been radical leftist factions like BLM and Antifa that have been violent and burning down buildings, looting, whole towns, whatever else, for months. Now, maybe it's died down here since the winter to some degree, but old Ted Wheeler had to condemn Antifa just the other day because of their displays on New Year's. Now, they went to his residence, his apartment, and lit off fireworks and whatever else. Yet the mainstream media continually plays to the narrative that these are the good folk and you have to be sympathetic. You, however, if you are on the right wing, if you are right of Mao, you are an evil, bigoted person. Like, it's insane. And this is another reason why I suggest not to go to these things, because you will always be the bad guy. And the reason why is because you are not part of this globalist, communist nonsense, because you want your freedom and your liberty. You want to be left alone. The left cannot have that, and they are far more united. There will be more violence in the future, folks. Not because I want it, not because I'm calling for it, but because this is what happens. Those of you out there who believe that there is not a civil war brewing in this country, you are absolutely insane and have your heads in the sand. I am telling you right now that there is an administration or two presidencies away from a civil war. The Great Reset is coming, my friends. It is coming. It is coming, and we know it is coming because of John Kerry speaking directly to the World Economic Forum, the people that birthed this idea out of basically the UN's Agenda 21, that want this great reset. Klaus Schwab believes that the governments of the 20th century have been too libertarian. They've been too free. They've not been powerful enough. If we know one thing from the 20th century, it is this: that democide, the act of the state killing people, has been greater than any time ever in history. Potentially over 250 million people have died at the hands of their governments. Our government is not the libertarian, laissez-faire type government that it once was in the United States, that it was founded under. No, we are highly institutionalized. We are the global arm of war for the UN and the World Banks. Not the World Bank, but the banks of the world, the Federal Reserve Bank and whatever else. When they don't like what you do, you get out of line. Guess what they do? They go in and they destroy you like we did to Libya. Didn't like Gaddafi because he didn't want to play ball with them. Folks, this is the truth. This is the reality. This is not conspiracy. They talk about it openly. These people, folks, wish to control every aspect of your life. Joe Biden's campaign slogan was Build Back Better, taken directly from the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab himself has said only stakeholder capitalism is what we need. Those who actually have a say are those invested, meaning you don't get to vote with your dollar anymore. You will own nothing and you will like it. Recall all these things? I talk about it all the time. But with all that, let's go to some nonsense, okay? Here we have Cori Bush, who congresswoman from, looks like Missouri, nurse, activist, organizer, single mom, and pastor, leading with racial love, fighting the regular people. No, you're actually evil. This is an evil sign. It means you're a lefty. Black Lives Matter is a communist organization that says it wants to destroy the nuclear family. They want a communist utopia in the vein of Plato's Republic, folks. And this is what this lady says. Pin tweet. I saw this first last night. It says, my first resolution in Congress will be to call for the expulsion of Republican members of Congress who incited this domestic terrorist attack on the Capitol. Okay, lady. Don't let this get lost in the choir of yesterday. And it says, Louisville PD hired the former Atlanta police chief who lost her job over their murder of Rayshard Brooks. Rayshard Brooks was not murdered. He was shot because he attacked police officers and all he had to do was comply. And he used a taser, which is considered a weapon that could be potentially lethal, even though it's a less than lethal weapon. I don't know if you've ever been tased, folks. It's not fun. I have been. I've been taser certified. I can tell you that while you're tasing somebody, while they're locked up, you can easily do horrible things to them. It says, how can we expect better policing if officers always seem to get away with their misconduct? And then Breonna deserves justice. Okay, the Breonna Taylor narrative has been debunked. This person is going into Congress. This is insane. If you're wondering what is going through my mind as white supremacists storm the Capitol with ease, it was a memory of my mace burning my skin as I tried to pull a woman away from being beaten by the police, standing up for Black Lives Matter. Well, I'm sorry, all your takes are trash, and you're just using your skin tone, your race, for political advantage. This is why people storm the Capitol, because you have trash like this in the government, and it's all over the place. Let me just show you this video that I like to play on occasion here.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
Yeah. Was there an uprising yesterday? Come on, Nancy.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest.
People take to the streets. This is a dictator. Talking about Trump. See, it's about politics, folks. If you have the right politics, if you have the left politics, yet the left side politics, right? You get to do whatever you want. Whatever you want, and then you get set free. No one cares because you're a useful idiot and a political tool for these psychopaths in our federal government.
In the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Well, Cuomo, I mean, what happened yesterday? Your words.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
Yeah, thanks, Don Bigot Lemon.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I don't even want to keep playing this. This is so disgusting, folks. This is so just irresponsibly disgusting.
By the Secret Service. I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd.
Again, here we have Maxine Waters calling for basically insurrection and violence. This is disgusting. I don't like that people who were, a small faction of people, but who were on the right, if you would, doing what they did yesterday. I don't like it. But I'm actually going to be interviewing one of them on my live show, The Ends Justify the Memes, on Wednesday. Someone that I watch, a YouTuber, quite often. He was there. I watched this video last night talking about it and what he participated in. And so we'll get to the bottom of this. We'll talk to people who were actually there. Karlin Borisenko also had a post aftermath video that she made, if you want to go check her out and what she had to say, because she was there. But this whole thing, my first resolution in Congress will be to call for the expulsion of Donald Trump. Let's look at this other stuff here. DC police made 69 arrests between yesterday afternoon and overnight from unarrested offenses. This is John Kurzel. And compared to the 289 arrests on June 1st from BLM protesters following George Floyd's death, a total of 426 arrests during a 4-day protest. And here are the charts and the numbers. Go look this up yourself, as I always tell you to do. Folks, this was with the comparable numbers of people who were there in DC. This was a minimal, small group. Now the FBI are calling for others to be arrested because, again, they have the wrong politics. This nation is fracturing and it will devolve into violence. And I'm not saying this, again, as any sort of threat. It is a warning to you to be prepared. Be prepared for these things that are going to happen. It's sad and it's unfortunate. I don't want the violence, but look, folks, you got to remain principled, and I stand by my principles. I do not call for violence on the right, and I do not call it for the left. I will condemn it on both sides, but I understand why it is happening and why it will continue to happen. When you lock people away for a year, and you strip away their jobs, you destroy the economy, you basically don't count their votes, you ignore what fraud there was in the election. I'm not saying it was widespread, YouTube, but there was certainly areas that were highly questionable. We have unconstitutional laws passed, edicts, if you would, not by legislatures, but by governors that essentially said that, oh, we're going to do this voting this way now. There was a lot of stuff to go through, and the left knew it. But again, the right politics are always on the left because you are a horrible person if you just want to be left alone and not be in this world communistic order. We also have this. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calls for Trump's involuntary removal under the 25th Amendment. This, my friends, again, is just more nonsense from Schumer. Did you see the speeches yesterday from the Senate when they reconvened? It was ridiculous. And Mitch McConnell was ridiculous. These were not terroristic threats. They did nothing. I mean, maybe you could say it was, but more or less, it looked to me like it was a bunch of pissed off people who basically said, no, screw you. You have done nothing to listen to us and we will be heard. And as far as I can tell, The only violence that I saw from folk were retaliatory against the police who were using pepper spray and whatever else. And the police did shoot and kill a woman, which, by the way, doesn't matter because she's white, right? Doesn't matter. Wrong skin tone. It's disgusting. It is absolutely gross. And again, here, why? We're going to impeach Trump. Today is the 7th, folks. Guess what? On the 20th, Joe Biden will be inaugurated. You know what that means? Trump has 13 days left in office. Come on. Let's get real. This is grandstanding. This is posturing. This is just nonsense. House Democrats have prepared articles of impeachment against Donald Trump. For what? For what? Your last thing was a sham. And I know there's so many low information voters out there. I know them. I have them in my family who believed all that Russia nonsense. Hey, folks, it was a scam the whole time. You know why they hated Donald Trump? Because he's not a globalist. He's not part of this communistic order. He's not a corporatist. He is someone who is kind of restoring America. Make America great again. Do you know that under Donald Trump, that the average household family got a $5,000 boost, annual boost in income? Under Bush and Obama, for the 16 years that they were in office, that boost was something like $200. I can't remember. I did a video on it a while ago. Go look it up, though. It's out there. I'm not going to lie to you, folks. I don't do that. I will only tell you the truth. I will only say things that I know are facts. It says, GOP Congressman Adam Kinzer, an Iraq war vet, calls for Trump's involuntary removal to end this nightmare. He's got 2 weeks left, folks. Not even. I'm an Iraq war vet. You know what? I don't want the guy to be removed. I want this nonsense to stop. It is disgusting. Man, I'm so annoyed by this. I'm so grossed out because it is about politics, not about principle. This is why I hate the two-party system. It's why this nation will be destroyed. It is why the horrible things that are coming will come, because it's all about their power. And there's nothing that you and I can do about it because the system has been entrenched since the Second World War. We are a globalist nation, folks. The true global order will come in very soon. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it, but it is the end of days as the Bible would prophesy it. Now, these things have been going on for centuries. I believe the book of Revelations conjoins with Daniel, and they feed off of each other, and that the revealing of events was from a historicist perspective, my perspective, is something that evolves, unfolds over time. And we are in that final last age of the church ages, of the church of Laodicea, the 7 churches of Asia. They say, look how rich I am, how rich. And God says, Jesus says, no, you are poor because you're poor in spirit. He says, you are lukewarm and I will vomit you. I will puke you out of my mouth because you are neither hot nor cold for me. And that is the state of the church today. Now, you could read those and you could say, well, that's just the 7 churches of Asia at the time. It absolutely was. You know what, though? It reads very specifically in Greek, the little bit of Greek I understand and know, and from what I have seen from other scholarly commentary, it reads as if it is going to happen. This is going to occur over time. There are things that have already come to be fulfilled in that book, like the false prophet. That is the papacy, folks. Hate to tell you. Guess what the Pope said? Build back better. He's part of this whole deal. So anyways, I'm running a little long. I usually like to keep these to less than 15 minutes, try to keep them to about 10 minutes, but whatever. A lot to say today, and this is the only video I will be making today. Right here it says, a majority of Republicans, 52%, blame Joe Biden for the storming of the Capitol. I don't blame anybody. This is a YouGov poll, you know. I don't blame anybody but the people that did it. But I do believe that when you have folks like Cori Bush making statements like this, and you have a media that props up these things, and you have people like Maxine Waters and back here Nancy Pelosi, why aren't there uprisings in the street? Well, you called for it, didn't you? I am calling for peace. I am calling for the government and the media and these sycophants who kiss up to the global world order in China and everything else to back off, because it will get bad and you will not like it. And again, this is not me saying because I refuse to participate, it is against my religion. But I am telling you, As a prophet, I am telling you, as someone who foresees what is going on based on human history, based on an understanding of psychology, what is coming. And they want it to come. And there will be more bloodshed. It will be bad. The day before the Rittenhouse incident happened, I predicted there was going to be violence. And that's not because I have some sort of magical crystal ball. It's because I understand history. I understand human psychology. I understand philosophy and how things work within the human soul and being. And this is why I have done my best to give my life over to Christ so I am not part of that system. To remain humble, to understand that I cannot be part of the world. And those of you out there, my friends, who are Christians, who are engaged in this, I am telling you now, those words in the Bible that Jesus said, I never knew you, if you continue on this path, you will hear those words one day. Be warned. I'm a watchman, folks. I'm here to help you. I'm here to provide some information. I'm here to provide some perspective with other people who aren't providing the insight in which I do. Now, I may be a tiny, tiny channel, but I am going to do this because I'm compelled, and I believe it is my calling to do such a thing. And I will do this at all costs because God has called me to be a watchman and to correct the error of the ways in which the nation is going, or the world, or whatever, to call out that remnant, those who are left in the church, so that you may know better, so that you may live a better life, and so that you may bring up your families and enjoy life and have hope in things instead of being caught up in this nonsense. And it truly is nonsense. I'm so frustrated with it. I'm so frustrated with it. And many of you have your eyes closed out there. You think Antifa is just an idea. Antifa's an idea. No, it's not an idea. They are a terrorist organization. They work in cells, folks. I'm actually counter-terrorist trained. That's some of this stuff back here, folks. Like, I don't have like a zillion and one credentials. I have some credentials. I'm a pretty smart guy. I've read a lot. I've had a lot of life experiences. I've lived through hostage situations. I've been to war. I've done certain things that most people just can't fathom. I've worked in hospitals. I've seen people shot in the face, stabbed. I've had to wrestle with folks over a police officer's firearm before. Folks, like I live in the world. Now, I've rejected that life because I don't believe that I have a call toward violence, because Christ calls me toward peace, to turn the other cheek. But I'm telling you now that I know and have experienced more things than most of you who are insulated in your homes, who have little isolated lives, who only get things from NPR or CNN or MSNBC, legacy media, CBS, ABC, I don't care. It's all propaganda, folks. They are selling you a narrative and a story. And perhaps I am too. But my story and my narrative is based in the Logos, the Word and the truth. And that is all I can do to provide for basically a better insight and life to you. Because I'm obsessed with knowing and being aware, because God has called me to be that. To pay attention. To watch for his coming. And folks, I am warning you. This is going to continue to escalate and has been escalating since basically 2012-ish. And right before when Trump got elected, it was escalating. The left has been doing extreme violence. The right turns around and it is a big, big deal. And it will only get worse. And there will be more and more bloodshed. Please, folks, be safe. Do not participate in these things. And remain principled. Again, I will be interviewing Don from Plebeian Media, Don the Pleb. As far as I know, it's still on. Should be next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday on the 13th, on my show, The Ends Justify the Memes. He was there. We will talk to him. We will interview him. We'll probably have some disagreements. But again, I understand why this happened. But sorry to make this so long. This is supposed to be shorter, but man, I had some stuff to get off my chest, right? So with all that said, this has been All Minus One Quick Shots. And folks, I wish you all well.